There's very few things that I've loved in my life as long as I have Pokemon. I remember being 3 years old and sitting in front of my TV in my living room and seeing a commercial for a Charmander toy and thinking at the time, I don't know what this is, but I have to have it in my life. And a few days later, my mom brings me said Charmander toy, and my life has changed forever. So naturally, when Nintendo announced Sun and Moon, I was fairly excited. The 7th generation of Pokemon would be releasing this year, and with it, new Pokemon and possibilities to be had by Pokemon fans worldwide. But as the months went by, more news came out about the changes made to the Pokemon formula. For starters, we saw the addition of the Alolan forms. Now, I don't have a problem with the change in design since they are from a different region, as that's something that occurs naturally with animals in the real world. But some of the designs were, well, interesting to say the least. Looking at you, Exeggutor. As we got more Alolan forms, I was kind of bummed that it was only the first gen Pokemon getting these forms, and there was never any hint at a lot of other previous generations of Pokemon returning. Now, I know Pokemon designs are really up to perception, and not everyone's gonna like every Pokemon design, and everybody has their favorites. Also, can I quickly just point out that it's not just previous gens that have dumb designs, because, Jesus Christ, Grimer's a literal pile of sludge and sewage and just gross shit, okay? Like, each generation has bad designs, guys. It's okay. But I found myself getting worried as a lot of the new designs weren't really to my personal liking, and I didn't want them to make the same mistake that Black and White did by creating a whole generation of Pokemon without returning favorites. But to my surprise, Sun and Moon is overflown with Pokemon from the previous 6 generations. This made me extremely happy as I had more options to build a team I really liked as compared to settling with some Pokemon I wasn't so crazy about. Sun and Moon seems to boast the most diverse Pokedex out of all the previous Pokemon games. You could go the whole game without using any Gen 7 Pokemon excluding the starter. I definitely feel this is a smart move seeing as there are over 800 Pokemon now, and with a pool that large you don't want to restrict too much away. Aside from the new Pokemon, the only other thing that really concerned me was the vast differences from the quote-unquote traditional Pokemon games. Every game has introduced something completely new, but Sun and Moon flipped the conventions of Pokemon to a whole nother level. I'm a firm believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and Pokemon definitely had that formula for me. So when I heard that these games wouldn't have gyms, I kinda questioned the plausibility that these would make decent Pokemon games. What I got was something better than just a practically meaningless gym battle. The trial system gave personality and life to trial captains who took the role of pseudo-gym leaders. The game overall presented itself quite a bit more cinematically and more story-driven through a change in a staple of Pokemon game design. The gameplay saw an overhaul as well. New player models and a more in-depth game world made this game pure eye candy, and it gets me really excited for the future of the series. The fact that the characters have distinguishable facial expressions helps to connect us to them even more, and it's something I want to see them utilize a lot more in the future. They also got rid of the grid-based movement system, which isn't really a big deal, but I just thought it was cool for me. One of the greatest things these games did was do away with the HM system. Any veteran Pokemon player will tell you about having an HM slave, and that's no longer a problem, because now you can actually ride the Pokemon and use them to utilize the role of the HMs. Plus, it's just really cool to ride on the Pokemon. It's a nice touch. I also appreciate the shortcut to the Pokeballs. That wasn't something I realized I needed, but it's super appreciated. Battle mechanics are still relatively the same, with some new additions. The typings that are and aren't effective against enemy Pokemon are listed, which is a nice touch if you don't want to memorize this asinine chart here. The one thing that I didn't like, and that really annoyed me throughout the game, was the SOS system. And I know a lot of people use this to farm for shinies and stuff like that, but this is more or less going throughout the story and natural progression of the game. If you weakened the Pokemon below half health, it had a chance to call him back up. Now, my problem isn't that this is a feature, it's that it can essentially go on forever or until the original Pokemon kills itself by struggling. This can become extremely annoying if you're trying to catch the Pokemon, because whenever you call, or whenever it calls another Pokemon in, for some reason, your fucking character gets so confused and doesn't know up from down and can't throw a Pokeball at one individual Pokemon. And it's especially frustrating in the trials as well. The Totem Pokemon are already getting enhanced power, and then are also given the capability to call for help, furthering the Totem Pokemon's edge. The Totem Lurantis is a great example of this, as it will call Castform into help. The Castform will use Sunny Day, giving the Lurantis the capability to use Solar Blade in one turn. Now, I'm not really upset about the trials posing a bigger challenge, but it just seems a little off balance when an already beefed up Pokemon not only gets back up, but a damn good strategic setup as well. As you progress through the game, you get more acquainted with the system and learn how to combat it, and I will admit, it makes you rethink just brute forcing everything. As far as the story goes, it follows the same Pokemon pattern we are used to, but throws a nice twist in there as well. Team Skull was a great comic relief, while the true villains at the Aether Paradise seemed mysterious and didn't present themselves to be the obvious threat immediately. The Island Challenge was a fun change of pace from the 8 Gems Pokemon League champion formula we are familiar with. And the story overall kept true with the values of friendship and having fun with Pokemon on your journey. Which at the end of the day is what this is all about, having fun, and Pokemon Sun and Moon are a hell of a lot of fun. To me, these are the best games since Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I look forward to playing them much, much more. Pokemon Sun and Moon are a definite buy for 3DS owners and anyone looking to get into Pokemon, or for returning fans.